members of cabinet, members of the diplomatic community, parents, children, and members of a community that is one with us. A community that is no different from any other community. And a community that we are here to celebrate, uplift today. A community that is so special that for persons of faith, you will know that there are specific scriptures, there are specific areas of every religious text that address this community. Because persons living with disability, based on the foundational principles of every faith, must be treated equally with dignity. That is the first and foremost teaching of every faith philosophy. That is, persons living with disability have a right to be treated equally and with dignity. And as a community, we have a duty. We have a duty to ensure that this occurs. For a matter of fact, in many religious texts, specific mention is given to caregivers and how they will be treated on a day of celebration. Also, we are taught in faith to bear one another's burden, to love one another. That the greatest gift that we can give through the blessings of God is to take community responsibility for persons living with disabilities. And that is what we want to demonstrate today. Regardless of where you sit in private or public life, we must take community responsibility to uplift those persons living with disabilities. In some religious texts, for caregivers, it is written that this is also a test of faith, a test of resilience, a test of honor, and a test of sacrifice. I was looking at the numbers last night on our register, and then I was looking at our investments across different sectors, both the public and private sector. And I mentioned, I think, to Ashley, that if we collectively do exactly what Arya and the ministry did in Barbados with the leaders, to integrate the private sector and the government in creating employment, lasting support, and lasting income, we can easily turn the tide given the numbers that we have. That is why, working with the private sector, I want us to target in the next 5 years at least 5,000 jobs dedicated to persons living with disability. But much more than that, if in every single project we do, whether it's a community park, a community center, a community field, a little park in your private sector organization, a little lunch room in your private sector organization, in your boardroom, both public and private, if we dedicate 3.5% of the space, between 3.5 and 5% of the space, to persons living with disability, we will completely create an environment that is conducive and dignified for every single person living with disability. And I want to start by us in government leading by example. So, as from today, every single new project must have at least 10% of the space dedicated specifically to support persons living with disabilities. Whether it's a government compound with a car park, we must have 10% easily convertible in the evening, where persons living with disability can enjoy the fruits of our collective labor as a people and as a nation. Over the next couple of weeks, and in the 5 years, we're going to target specifically some of the challenges and issues identified by this community. And I want to recognize the extraordinary work Ganesh and all the other leaders do. Many people don't see the work, but he will text you any hour in the night or in the day, and if he don't get you, he'll get the person closest to you. And if you don't get the person closest to you, he'll go to the person closest to the closest person next to you. This level of love and activism is not easy to sustain for decades. And they've been doing it. That is why today, Ganesh, as you always highlight and celebrate the improvement, you must be proud that you and all the other leaders were part of this transformation. And there are 8 areas that we want to target as identified as the priority areas from the community. One is care support. Those persons who care, whether it's the parents, the grandparents, a relative, a social worker, they deserve this morning a resounding round of applause. You are the definition of faith, love, and faith and love that is selfless and forever. So, addressing care support, education support. And in the modern world, we will have to move away from the concept of brick and mortar and to use technology and community to bring together the opportunity to have education as close as possible to persons living with disability. Community support, empowerment support, transportation support, health support, housing support, and government services accessibility. Those were the primary priorities as outlined. And as Ganesh said, when you have a partner you can trust in always being there for you, there are some things that you just don't have to push at. And he spoke about the grant for persons living with disability. He spoke about the permanent register. All of those things we did in the last 5 years, putting people on a permanent register so there's predictability in terms of the support. And he knows that with this government, that will only continue to grow and grow. So on this International Day of Persons with Disabilities, Ari and I, together with all of Guyana, joined the global community under the theme, Fostering Disability Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress. This theme resonates deeply with our national mission. Since 2020, my government has been committed to the tasks of transforming our vision of an inclusive society into a tangible reality for all citizens, including our brothers and sisters living with disabilities. And I want to pause and recognize also the work of Minister Bindi and her ministry, and ask you to give them a big applause. Guyana has laid a formidable legislative framework, foundation, to protect your rights and affirm the dignity of persons living with disabilities. The Prevention of Discrimination Act and the Persons with Disabilities Act stand as pillars of our resolve, prohibiting discrimination and guaranteeing equal opportunities in employment and education. Guided by the National Policy on the Rights of People with Disabilities and empowered by the National Commission on Disability, we are building a framework where inclusion is not an afterthought, but a fundamental principle. The framework is brought to life through robust support initiatives by my government. Over the past 5 years, we have also established the first bona fide learning hub. For the first time, a bona fide center, learning lab, for persons living with disability was established. The learning lab provides a safe, equipped environment for skills development, digital literacy, and inclusive education. We expanded training in PWDs in every region across 20 courses. We implemented a permanent disability reform. Previously, persons with disabilities were required to reapply for benefit every 6 months. However, the PPP civic government introduced a one-time application for permanent disability until pensionable age. We introduced the online education for permanent disability. To improve accessibility, PWDs can now apply for permanent disability benefits online, eliminating the need to physically visit offices and thereby reducing transportation costs and inconvenience. And we know that for families with children living with disability, the internet and connectivity is important for you. And we're going to announce in the measures specific support to help you to have that data and connectivity to support your children and your family at the household level. We've increased the permanent disability benefit and more than doubled to ensure PWDs enjoy greater financial support to meet their daily needs. We established a database for children with disabilities. The government developed the first ever comprehensive database for children living with disabilities. This database allows for improved planning, monitoring, and delivery of targeted services to support these children and their families. We pay the one-off grants to PWDs. In addition to the support for children, a 35,000 cash grant was provided to PWDs to help them with financial challenges. We remove all taxes on specific services and specific support that PWDs require. We distributed free assistive aids for PWDs, and thousands of persons have benefited from this. We established the first Empower Guyana Center under the Office of the First Lady. The Center for Equity, Opportunity and Innovation, also known as the Empower Guyana Center, is the first facility of its kind in the Caribbean region. The center provides direct employment for over 120 PWDs who are previously unemployed, building confidence, entrepreneurship, and creativity within the community. Additionally, earlier this year, a new partnership was launched at the center with major national service providers, including GPL, GWI, ENET, GTNT, and others. We intend to replicate this model in other regions, improving service delivery while empowering PWDs with job opportunities. Looking ahead, our commitment extends to ensuring no child is deprived of an education through the expansion of special needs schools and piloted special classrooms. We are retrofitting public buildings for improved access, providing free health care, assistive aids, and prosthetic support. Through our One Guyana initiative, we are developing a comprehensive database to better tailor our interventions. Over the next 5 years, my government will implement a comprehensive agenda to enhance the lives of persons with disabilities by strengthening support systems and fostering greater inclusion. Key initiatives will include strengthening systems to facilitate early identification, intervention, and treatment of persons with disability, developing and implementing an updated special needs policy to ensure children with disabilities can acquire a meaningful education, increasing their integration into mainstream schools, and establishing a SEND facility to every region. Establishing systems to homeschool students unable to attend physical school by working with the Council of Organization for Persons with Disability to ensure students receive quality education. Increasing the availability of durable mobility and other assistive aids, including electronic devices, to ensure greater independence. Creating targeted job opportunities through collaboration with the private sector and the construction of more business centers designed for persons with disabilities. Launching a personal assistant training and certification scheme that covers disability rights, caregiving, communication, and emergency response. Introducing remote monitoring and tele-assistance under the mobile apps and wearable devices can be used for check-ins and emergency alerts. Strengthening partnerships, especially between the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security and disability advocacy groups, health professionals, regional administrations, and learning institutions. Providing special support for access to house lots and home ownership. Introduce a subsidized system to reduce the financial burden on parents, where the government will support child care costs. Introducing special tax incentives and special support for parents who have children with disabilities. Introducing a grant for caregivers to give a place in their home to take care of PWDs. The grant will enable the caregiver to prepare a space in their home that is dignified, safe, and accessible to care for persons with disabilities. Introducing a special financing window for PWDs through the Development Bank to be established early next year, under which interest-free, collateral-free loans will be offered to PWDs for commercial income-generating projects. Through these and other measures, in the coming months and years, my government will continue to create and generate tangible advantages and benefits for PWDs, especially through empowering and self-fulfilling opportunities for meaningful work and earning opportunities. In addition, I am pleased to announce that I've instructed that a one-off grant of $50,000 be paid to every disabled person before the end of this month, providing direct financial support totaling $1.4 billion to PWDs, $1.4 billion in this initiative alone, the most vulnerable in our society, benefiting more than 27,000 persons. Our mission is to create an environment where the disabled can fully participate in all aspects of national life, pursue your dreams, and contribute meaningfully to our nation's growth. Together, we will continue to build a unified, inclusive Guyana, where no one is left behind, and where every single person, whether disabled or not, participates fully and contributes meaningfully to this remarkably exciting period in our country's history. Today, as I close, I urge all of you to embrace this blessing and this test of our faith as a country, to embrace this beauty of this community, to embrace the challenges and opportunities of this community. And together, let us lift each other up. Let us bear each other one more day, one more year, as we all advance towards fulfilling our duties in this grand family of humanity. May God bless all of you richly, and may He continue to give us the space in our hearts, the love in our soul, and the understanding in our nature to be one of and part of the solution and not the problem. God bless all of you.